I'm Barry Funkhauser, and this is the Barry Funkhauser Show. Whoa. Here's what's going on. Well, a Tennessee town has blamed Jack Daniels for growing fungus. California ranks #1 in the nation for horse lovers, and the city of Sausalito is facing a lawsuit over a proposed housing plan. As always, I'm here with my co-host and General Know-It-All Current Events Guy, Joe. Hey, Joe, what do you know? Happy Monday, Joe.
What's up, Mr. Funk? How are you?
Dude, I had everything happen today. So on Friday...
Oh, yeah, you did have everything happen today, didn't you?
Everything, everywhere, all at once happened to me.
Yeah, it did.
My stove broke on Friday. I got a new stove today. It's a Wi-Fi stove. And
is it a gas stove? Are you not a tree-hugging hippie liberal?
No, man, I hooked it up to the gas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I enjoy a gas stove as well.
But you know what really grinds my gears, Joe? I'll tell you. So I got this newfangled stove, and it's like smart, so it's got Wi-Fi, you know?
Why? What reason?
I know.
What do you need Wi-Fi on a stove for?
That's what I'm curious about, you know? It's not what I bought it for, but it's got it, you know? So it's like, all right, cool. Maybe it'll tell me when ding, fries are done, you know? Something like that.
Well, I mean, sure, but come on.
Really? Start the oven before I get home? I don't know. What?
It's not everything needs Bluetooth or Wi-Fi.
Well, here's the problem, Joe, is I'm trying to hook this up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And the stove, as fancy and newfangled as it is, it only hooks up on 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, and I only have 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, so it's like your stove is incompatible with your Wi-Fi.
Oh, for real? You don't have both on your modem?
Apparently not. Apparently.
Oh, usually if you have a 5, you should be able to hook into a 2.4. Like it
Not there.
Usually happens. That's weird, man. Because like
hard 15 trying to figure it out. Good hard 15. You know,
hard 15. That's it.
Googling how to 2.4. Google and stove Wi-Fi, you know, just all the weird. And then after 15 minutes goes by, I'm like, you know what? I don't need Wi-Fi on my stove. What am I doing all this wasted time for? If it doesn't connect, it doesn't connect. I'll just push the buttons. Who gives a crap, you know?
Exactly. But still, I'm telling you, I'm sure that you can log into your Wi-Fi and you can enable your 2.4. That's all it really comes into.
Because I tried it. I watched the YouTube guys.
15.
We might need another quarter hour to figure that out, man. I need a brain behind it because I can't figure out how to connect my stove to my Wi-Fi.
Oh, that's weird.
I'd never figured that I'd ever say in my whole life.
Yeah, all of my all my like the streaming stuff and my phones, that's all in 5 because you know you want fast connectivity and stuff. But you know, like our Kindles and like our does Linda have a Kindle? I can't remember. Oh, she has a Nook. That's the Barnes and Noble one. Those are on 2.4 because it doesn't really matter. You just need like a less powerful connection because you're not streaming things. But yeah, that's interesting that you have the Wi-Fi set up.
Freaking headache, man.
Wait, and then you got a headache from it?
It's a freaking headache trying to figure it out.
I was going to say, it's the carbon monoxide coming out of that gas-burning stove, isn't it?
No, it looks good, man. That was the problem with my last stove. One of the range burners, it was burning too big and releasing noxious fumes. And the guy.
Oh, is that why you're like this? Oh, it all makes sense now.
Oh no! Now I'm gonna be normal now.
Oh, now you're gonna be normal.
Bring the old stove back. Let's figure that out. I need the
Okay. Well, besides that, how was the dentist this morning?
Oh yeah, also did that at the same time, man.
Wait, at the same time you were getting a. Wait, the dentist came to your house and did a house call while you're getting your stove implanted?
You schedule a stove delivery, right? And the stove delivery homies say, "Oh, we'll be there between 11 and 3." All right, cool. So my dentist appointment.
Here's an 8-hour window. We're going to be there between
11 and 3. That's 9 and 5. 4 hours. Okay, I can swing that. Well, like this morning, I get a call, and I send it to voicemail because I don't know the number, and it's like, "Hey, this is the delivery service. We're running early. We'll be there between 9 and 11." I was like, well, crap. Well, guess they showed up 10 minutes before I had to go to my dentist appointment.
Hey, that's not fair. Like, guys, if you're going to give us a window, we're going to arrange our day around that window. Don't change the window on us. That's just rude.
It's outrageous, man. Outrageous.
Really?
What if I had a life?
I feel like we're in a Seinfeld episode right now. Don't be changing the time on us. You can make the reservation. You can't keep the reservation.
Well, so after the podcast today, I'm going to cook my first meal, chicken and rice.
Oh, how boring.
And I know, well, I got to start small.
Start small. Can't you at least make like chicken parm or something?
Do what you know. I don't know much.
You don't know how to make chicken parm? Chicken parm's not that hard.
I need to go get the parm.
Well, you can go get some parm. You got a store like 2 blocks away.
I could.
Get into the news.
All right, here's what's going on today. In Lincoln County, Tennessee, a black fungus called whiskey fungus is coating homes, street signs, and much more things. The residue is being fueled by the vapors from the 6 barrel houses of one of the most popular whiskey brands in the world, Jack Daniel's. Now some residents are suing the company, which plans on pushing ahead with their warehouse expansions. Listen to this.
In this small Tennessee town, a layer of thick, black residue is covering up street signs, clinging onto roofs and trees.
Look, that is fungus that is growing on the side of this branch. See?
It's called whiskey fungus.
Like on these branches, you see for sure that's definitely whiskey fungus.
And it's being fueled by one of the most popular whiskey brands in the world, Jack Daniel's, which operates 6 barrel houses here in Lincoln County. Those alcohol vapors released during the aging process of whiskey can travel hundreds of yards, fueling fungal growth, spreading on many surfaces.
And so this is harder on the metal. But look.
Tracy and Warren Ferry purchased their house right before these facilities went up, next door to their property.
I saw a little slice of heaven.
3 years later, do you feel the same way?
No.
Why?
Because I have a huge monster in my backyard. It's going to ruin everything.
Mm-hmm. Jack Daniels says that this type of microflora is not uncommon around distilleries and that they appreciate that some may not like how it looks and the inconvenience it may present. Based on the information available, we believe it is not harmful to individuals or their property. Vanderbilt University professor Antonis Rakas is an expert on fungi.
So we don't know of any patients that have ever acquired an infection with the whiskey fungus. I would add to that no clinical studies have been done.
And some now are suing. Patrick and Christy Long are arguing Jack Daniel's didn't have the required permits for its expansion. Currently, there are 6 operational barrel houses, with 8 more in the works. But Jack Daniel's tells NBC News about plans to push ahead with their expansion, which they say will bring $1 million in annual tax revenue to the county.
We'll be looking at somewhere between $30,000 and $40,000 a year to clean the mess they're creating.
Problems pouring over from one of the state's most famous products. Kathy Park, NBC News, Lincoln County, Tennessee.
Well, Joe, I don't know if you're a Jack Daniel's drinker. I guess not. I'll take it every so often if the mood strikes, but man, I don't know what I would do if I lived in that area with a growing Tennessee fungus, whiskey fungus. But, Joe, you're a little bit southerly of me, but here in Ventura County, there's something that happens, or used to happen. I don't know if it happens anymore, but it's over there on the end of Ventura by the golf course. And what they do is they have a mushroom farm there, and twice a year they fertilize it with pig manure. And what that does is that releases just the most rancid smell that reaches me 2 cities over in Camarillo from Ventura for that. And I don't know if they do it anymore because they used to get so many complaints. They might have moved the mushroom farm over, but man, I don't know what I would do if I was in that situation like constantly.
They haven't moved the mushroom farm and they still use the same stuff. I don't know. Maybe you just got immune to it, but no, it's still.
No, I don't smell it
still
anymore.
there. It's still there. I'm telling you, it's still there.
They figured something out then.
They figured something out. Anyway, I don't know why you brought that up. It has nothing to do with fungus. Just the mushroom
just
part.
like being
different, totally different kind of fungus.
I used to live next to a sauerkraut factory, and that was
that must have been
too.
fun. That must have been fun.
Smell.
Anyway, this sounds like the most delicious fungus in the world, though. I just want to break some off and just get into it and get a little drunk off it.
They say it doesn't get people sick.
No, now this is going to be like this is the next version of Last of Us. It's instead of like the cordyceps fungus that turns the people's heads into giant mushrooms, it's going to turn people's heads into giant bottles of Jack Daniels. And they're going to, be zombie-like Jack Daniels, Last of Us zombies. So it'll be great. That's the next, big fungus, life-threatening disease. No, honestly, it doesn't sound like, okay, sure. This sucks, but this isn't new. Whiskey fungus isn't new. We've known about whiskey fungus for hundreds of years. This has happened.
But they're talking
all
about
over the
this.
place.
They're expanding. The Jack Daniels is expanding.
Yeah, but sure. Okay. You know what? Jack Daniels just needs to get ahead of this and just like figure out a way to capture those vapors. It's not that hard to do, guys. And it's probably going to be less than, over time, than the $30,000 to $50,000 a year it would take to clean up the town. Just figure out a way to capture all those ethanol vapors, and then you won't screw everybody in your town. A very similar thing happened down in City of Industry. You know what happens in City of Industry that we all love?
What?
Sriracha gets made there.
Oh.
And the local the people in the neighborhood around the sriracha factory always complained about the 2 to 3 months where most of the chili peppers were processed because, oh man.
You talking about spicy air?
Oh, that is some spicy air. Yeah, it was causing like respiratory stuff. Well, you know what? Sriracha figured it out. They're still there. They still have their factory. They figured out a way to capture all those vapors to make sure that their neighborhood wasn't getting inundated with that stuff. And it's fine. Like I haven't heard a darn thing about the sriracha factory since then. So Jack Daniels just needs to get ahead of this and they'll, and take care of the problem. You are the cause. If you're the cause of the problem, you should fix the problem. You shouldn't have to be sued to fix a problem. Just do the right thing and fix the problem. Okay? I hate that we are in a point in our society where no one does the right thing unless they're sued first. Let's just like do the right. Come on, corporations. You're part of these communities and these neighborhoods. Like, start acting like that. Start acting like you're an actual part of the neighborhood and you want to be good neighbors to all the rest of the citizens around you. Get out in front of it, Jack Daniels. Get out in front of it.
They probably will. They have good lawyers. They're all drunk, but they're good.
Well, see, that's the thing. Don't bring in the lawyers. If the lawyers are worth their salt, they will say, guys, look into capturing these vapors so we just like eliminate the problem. And do you know how much goodwill that will bring us and positive publicity? Like, think about it just if you're thinking about it in terms of dollars and cents, it's going to be cheaper for them to just do the right thing instead of having to go through all the legal rigmarole and then have a federal appeals court tell them to do the right thing. Just do the right thing. It'll be cheaper.
I like the way you think, Joe.
Well, that's all corporations care about is money. Let's talk to them in their language then. It's going to be cheaper. Do it. It's cheaper this way.
All right. Well, today's show is brought to you by
the Tiffany Granitz Podcast. Advice radio for relationships, life, sex, and everything else. The Queen is back. Subscribe to the Tiffany Granitz Show wherever you get your podcasts.
All right. More news here on the Barry Funkhauser program. The Golden State of California ranks at the top of the list for horse lovers, galloping past Texas, Florida, Kentucky, and New York. Listen to this.
California beat out states like Texas and Kentucky. I came here to Blue Apple Ranch to find out a little more about these majestic creatures and what makes Californians such big fans.
They remind me of dogs. They all have their own personalities.
At Blue Apple Ranch in Ramona, horses are getting a second chance at life.
We like to think of ourselves as a safe haven for abused and abandoned animals, and we have about 75 horses that will live out the remainder of their lives here.
Executive Director Adrienne Wells Holmes is part of the team who helps care for the horses and the rest of the animals on the ranch. She says it's not surprising that the Golden State ranks at the top of the list for horse lovers, galloping past Texas, Florida, Kentucky, and New York.
I think weather is a huge component as well. There's more trail riding and camps and things that you can do throughout the year.
The study is based on the number of horse camps, dealers, boarding facilities, veterinarians, and even riding trails. Managing editor at Lawn Love, Sharon Sullivan.
We looked at a lot of aspects of, the equine industry just based on, more of that business side and the recreational side. And I think, California kind of fits the bill for both of those main categories.
And studies show that being around the animals is not just beneficial to our moods, but also our health.
Hi. Around horses, you actually lower your blood pressure. You have, sense of belonging and happiness. And there's just so many emotional and physical benefits, physiological benefits to being around horses. And I think that's probably why so many people love them.
I think I might have a new favorite story. Wells Holmes tells me she's seen the effects the animals can have firsthand with at-risk children.
There was this emotional connection that was undeniable, and I think you could really see it in the kids that were here and that they felt heard and connected to these animals, and it's almost like the animals sensed that as well.
Horses even helped me get through the pandemic by allowing me to connect with nature. So whether you're riding on one, caring for one, or simply admiring, it's likely you too will feel better.
How nice is that? Have you ever been on a horse, Joe?
No.
No? That's surprising to me.
Sure, but I don't feel like I need to get on an animal like that. I'm not adverse to horse riding, I guess, but I just want to make the people in this story were acting as though horses were completely different than any other domesticated animal out there in making connections with humans. You can do all the same stuff with a cat or a dog or a ferret or a cow. Any kind of domesticated animal is going to have that same kind of, you can make that same kind of connection with. Horses are not like, they were talking like horses are like this fantastic mythical creature that can make it that can bond with a human. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's just a pet. All pets do that, the same exact thing. So it's not surprising to me that California ranks the highest. We have a ass ton of people here. Do you know how many people live in California?
Most of them.
God, most of them. We have 12% of the entire U.S. population in our state. 12%. So, of course, we're going to beat out Kentucky. Kentucky's like 40th on the list of people. I think there are actually more cows and horses in Kentucky than there are actual people. And we still beat them. So
you're just salty because you don't know what it's like to be on a horse.
Stop. I am not salty. I don't care. My life is
into
not
the
going...
sunset on a cowboy hat. Oh, come on.
There are a few things please. My life is going to feel completely fulfilled if I never ever get to ride on a horse. It's not like it's not a bucket list deal for me.
Fine. Well,
you know what a bucket list deal for me is, though?
What?
Taking the donkey trail and riding a donkey down the Grand Canyon, hanging out at Paradise Ranch there at the bottom, right next to the river there, and then taking the donkey all the way back up. That sounds.
You're gonna ride a donkey, but not a horse? What kind of man are you? You have to.
Not a big one, I guess. I don't know.
You're a Southern Californian, I guess. It's funny, I never. I rode horses. Just barely, but I had a good friend that was watching his job was to take care of Jamie Foxx's horses because Jamie
Foxx has horses.
Well, he was in Django Unchained, and he.
Oh yeah, that's right. He did. He totally got into horses because he had to learn how the riding stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to ride that horse.
You got to ride his horse from Django Unchained.
Yeah, because horses need to be ridden if they're ridden, so.
Yeah. If you have a horse that's broken, you have to continually ride it or it's going to not
and it was so fun being friends with that guy because he'd call me up, hey, it's Thursday. You want to gallop up to the Hollywood sign? And I'm like, heck yes, I do. It was so fun.
Very interesting. It's interesting. There are who are some other big stars in Hollywood that are like really into horses? I know Kaylee Cuoco from Big Bang is like really, really into horses. She's like an actual equestrian and stuff. And she I think she still boards her stuff over at Burbank. Her stuff. She boards her horses at Burbank.
And she lives here in Camarillo, so she's up in the Heights.
Is she in Camarillo? I thought she was still in Calabasas. Anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter. No, that's cool. So yeah, I'm trying to think of I know that there are a bunch of other Hollywood people who just love horses, and that's why the Burbank Equestrian Center is such a big deal.
It's a good time. If you're listening and you have some celebrity ideas, you can tweet them at us. The details are in the description there. Let us know what celebrities you know that have horses. I think Harrison Ford. No, he has airplanes.
He has airplanes that he crashes. Yeah. I think you know what? That actually does sound like a fun idea though. They have the trails and the guided horse tours through Griffith Park from the Burbank Equestrian Center. I might look into that. That might be a fun day.
Yeah, you do that. Get on a horse, man. It's good for you.
All right, I'll try that.
All right, more news on the Barry Funkhauser Show. Sausalito is a city up north, and it's set to become the latest Bay Area city to face a lawsuit from housing advocates over its proposed housing plan. Listen to this garbage.
Sausalito is set to become the latest Bay Area city to face a lawsuit from housing advocates. Last month, YIMBY Law and other groups sued 11 cities and Santa Clara County for not creating state-mandated housing plans. So Sausalito did submit a plan, but it didn't comply with state guidelines, and they had to revise it multiple times. YIMBY Law says the new plan still is not good enough. The pending lawsuit, which still hasn't been filed, includes some unusual accusations. YIMBY Law claims some of the sites are mostly underwater. Some of the proposed sites include private property without the owner's consent. And the city also asked to waive some environmental impact reports. The law claims this was all done to avoid what's called a builder's remedy.
Well, as long as it's 20% affordable, the city would have to approve it, and cities freaked out, right? So they scrambled at the end to try to finish this process months earlier than they had planned.
So Sausalito city manager told the San Francisco Chronicle that he couldn't comment since he hasn't seen the lawsuit, which has yet to actually be filed.
All right, Joe, let him have it.
Oh, Huntington Beach is trying to do this same kind of crap.
What kind of garbage is this, man? I mean,
it's just a bunch of NIMBYs who don't they're stating that they're trying to maintain the coastal suburban element of their town, and they don't want any kind of building. No, that's not true. They allow building as long as it's multi-million-dollar homes. They just don't want people that don't look like them or are in the same or in a different socioeconomic situation than they are, i.e. poor people living in their community at all. It's garbage. It's absolute garbage. It's like they are just trying to flaunt state law all day long. And I'm sorry, people, we need more housing in this state, literally in every single city on the coast. Where do you think people want to live in California? Do they want to live? If you had a choice, Barry, would you live in Oxnard by the ocean and the beach or Oxnard in the freaking onion fields? Which one would you choose?
I mean, don't ask me. I'm a farmer. I'm not going to answer.
Well, okay, fine. Most people are going to choose by the beach, though, yeah. Right? We don't need a ton more housing in the rural areas of America or California. We need them in the cities and the coast where everybody wants to freaking live. So stop with your oh, we're just trying to protect our town crap, because it's just excuses for trying to keep out elements that you think aren't supposed to be in your city. It's stupid. I'm not here advocating for, 30-story tall buildings all along the coast of Huntington Beach or anything like that. I'm not saying let's take Newport, rip it down and turn it into Waikiki. I'm not saying that. And these rules aren't saying that. They're going to like the full extreme of, oh, if we let this development happen, then you're just going to turn us into Las Vegas on the beach. And that's everybody's argument. Oh, you're just going to turn us into like high rises. We don't want to be Manhattan. We don't want to be downtown Los Angeles. We're not asking you to do that. We're asking you to look at how you can make population density more effective in your community. And yes, that's going to mean building up some, but not everywhere and not 30 stories high. If you look at this law, it says, they're asking communities to reconsider their bans against apartment complexes over 2 or 3 stories. We just going up to 4 or 5 or 6 stories would be immensely helpful. And those properties aren't going to be the ones that are situated in, right on the beach, destroying what is so important to you. No, it's going to be like inland, like a mile, usually by public transportation, bus routes or train routes, something. It's not going to be in these, like on the beach. No. So it's
all right. So who's going to win this? Who's going to win the lawsuit?
The state of California is going to win this lawsuit.
Okay. All right. Well, it's a good place to visit, but I probably wouldn't move there, Sausalito.
Oh, it's too expensive anyway.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's the northern, like we'll get into this sometime else, but it's Northern California versus Southern California. The people are very different. We have very different feels,
Right.
So Northern Californians don't tend to like Southern Californians, and Southern Californians just don't care what Northern Californians think because they're not impactful. So that we're really bougie down here and kind of douchey about it.
It's a nice place to visit, but that's it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for the news today. This is the Barry Funkhauser Show.